Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. The topic is presentations. A good presentation is one of the most effective ways of communicating your message. Take a moment to think about some engaging presentations you've seen. What qualities did the speaker have? If you follow a clear structure, giving an effective presentation can be simple and stress-free. This tutorial guides you through each stage of giving a presentation in English. First, let's look at some vocabulary words. Handout. This is a document handed or given to people at a presentation. Whiteboard. A whiteboard is a large, flat, white surface on which to write or draw with a marker. Marker. Pen with a broad felt tip for writing on a whiteboard. Microphone. An electrical instrument for amplification of the voice. OHP is short for overhead projector, a device that projects an OHT onto a screen. OHT stands for overhead transparency, a sheet of film with an image on it for use on an OHP. Slide. A small photographic transparency. A slide can also refer to a page on a PowerPoint presentation. Pointer. A device for indicating things on a screen. Screen. A large, flat, reflective surface on which films or slides are projected. Visual aids. Things that one can look at in a presentation. Good preparation is vital in order to give a good presentation. This will not only affect the clarity with which you deliver your information, but also the confidence level. It will be clear to your audience that you know what you're talking about, allowing you to take control of the room. Your objective should be clear in your mind. If it is not clear in your mind, it can't possibly be clear to your audience. You should ask yourself, are you trying to educate your audience, sell them something, or convince them of an argument? Try to consider your audience. Consider their age, what they might already know, their likely attention span, and so on. Some people may switch off after a few minutes or be distracted by hunger or tiredness. Build a warm and friendly relationship with your audience. If you're enthusiastic, your audience will be enthusiastic as well. You can do this through humor, so long as it's appropriate. If you want your audience to understand your message, your language must be simple and clear. So use basic vocabulary, unless you're certain that your audience understands it. Most presentations are organized in 3 parts, followed by questions. So we start with a short introduction, in which you welcome your audience, introduce your subject, explain the structure of your presentation, and explain the rules for questions. Next is the body of the presentation, and this is the actual presentation itself, the core of the information. Last is a short conclusion, in which you summarize your presentation, perhaps thank your audience, and then invite questions. Try to appear spontaneous whenever you can. Use notes to stimulate what you need to say, or write down key words to trigger your memory. Rehearsal is a vital part of preparation. It helps to familiarize yourself with the subject matter, identify problems in your presentation, practice difficult pronunciations, and get an idea of the length of time. Visual aids are an extremely effective means of communication. They can transcend language barriers and appeal to different styles of learners. Some of the most useful visual aids are pie charts, video presentations, graphs, flip charts, bar charts, and simply using people themselves. During your introduction, you should tell your audience what the structure of your presentation will be. You might say something like, I will start by reviewing the performance of our new locations. Then I'll discuss how we can increase productivity in the old locations. After that, I'll set out our short-term strategy for the year ahead. Lastly, I'll quickly recap before answering any questions you may have. So after hearing this, a member of the audience can now visualize your presentation like this. Introduction, in which you welcome them. The body, in which you review the new locations, talk about increased productivity, and the strategy for the year ahead. Followed by the conclusion, which is the summing up, and questions. When you finish reviewing the new locations and want to start talking about increasing productivity, you might say, that's all I have to say about the new locations. Let's turn to the existing locations. When you want to sum up, you might say, well, we've covered all the main points. I'd like to sum up now. Finally, you can invite any questions. So, does anyone have any questions? Here are some phrases that you might want to utilize during your presentation. When introducing a subject, I'd like to start by, let's begin by, first of all, I'll, when finishing a subject, well, I've told you all about, that's all I have to say about, we've looked at, and starting another subject. Now we'll move on to, let me turn now to, I'd like now to discuss, let's look now at, for analyzing a point and giving recommendations. Let's consider this in more detail. What does this mean for? Translated into real terms, dealing with questions. I'd like to deal with this question later, if I may. I'll come back to this question later in my talk. Perhaps you'd like to raise this point at the end. I won't comment on this now. And some useful phrases for summarizing. In conclusion, I'd like now to recap. Let's summarize briefly what we've looked at. If I can just sum up the main points. And that brings us to the end of today's class. For more information on our one-to-one classes with a native speaking teacher, visit speakeasy1to1.com. Thanks for watching.